Hello and welcome to another Prose Bros podcast. This is our official iTunes release show, so please search us out and subscribe. On this episode, our good friend Adrian Segovia stops by to talk about the Ernest Cline novel, Ready Player One. Eddie comes up with a new rating system, and we discuss what it would be like in heaven. And I'm Jeff, reminding you as always that there are spoilers ahead.
Welcome to the first book review that we've ever done. We're talking about our first book, Ready Player One.
Did we write the book?
I wrote that book.
It's a good book.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
My name's Ernest Cline. No, it's not. My name's Eddie Cruz. I'm here with Jeff Waller, and today we have a special guest. His name is Adrian Segovia.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Nice. I'm doing well. How are you, Jeff?
Good.
Awesome. If you haven't read the book right now, it's a good place to stop. Take as long as you want to read the book and come back to this podcast.
So anyway, Adrian, maybe I should ask you, I normally ask Eddie, what the fuck is this book about?
This book is about an impoverished youth named Wade Watts who uses a virtual reality world to escape the torments, I guess, of his regular everyday life. And kind of, it's not just his world, kind of the whole world now exists in this virtual world where I think most people in this reality choose to exist more in this digital escape than in the real world.
Yeah, I would agree. Fucking, I can't wait till virtual sex is a thing, right?
Doesn't he try to do that in the book?
Doesn't he? Yeah, like you can buy
a robot or something, yeah.
A sex robot. That'd be fucking awesome. I want a sex robot right now.
I just want a regular robot.
I have a girlfriend, but I don't want to call her a sex robot.
Yeah, don't.
No, I didn't. Did I? Did I? Fuck. Just called my girlfriend a sex robot. She's not. She's more than that. She's everything.
So speaking of the world, what do you think of the world that exists within this book? So we get several different worlds. The reality of everything is kind of like, I guess it's not essentially a Mad Max style, but there's not a lot of gasoline, or it's...
Well, I think it's just basically, essentially, this book is not going really off kilter. I really like this book. This was my recommendation for the podcast. However,
because you wrote it.
Yeah, I also wrote it. My name is Ernest Cline. But as far as dystopian futures, I love the way that this book does it because it's realistic. I think it's going strictly off of what's going to happen when we overpopulate the planet, more so than lack of natural resource. Is that we are now way too many people, and like the stacks shows that, and relief through Oasis is it seems realistic, you know. Like I have a Samsung Galaxy VR headset. That thing is essentially a toy for small children and people that can't read, but I think the future is going to lead to that kind of thing, and I think that this is a really, really like actual accurate portrayal of what could happen.
Yeah, easily. I think this is something that's totally doable. Maybe not on the scope.
Maybe not plausible, but possible. I mean, more so than 1984
it's
or
totally
Brave New World.
They're already, like Microsoft has their own augmented reality headset, and all the guys from Oculus Rift, I know, are asked to read this book. All the guys that work at that company, at that VR company, read Ready Player One.
You know what's? I was doing a little bit of research because I read this book a little bit ago, and I was like, I'm just going to read some stuff that went along with the book. Apparently, a lot of the stuff that's coming out as far as virtual reality goes and hapsuits is all coming from the Department of Justice, Department of Defense. All the money that they give them for like doing blowing up stuff, they're actually putting into virtual reality so they can defuse bombs and do other things, and we're getting kind of like the
remotely.
Exactly.
So you don't
they actually
have
a hapsuit already.
Yeah.
In the works.
So it's kind of like an Avatar situation where you're kind of controlling something from far away.
Yeah, but they're using it for destructive purposes. Oh, obviously everything is right first.
I guess the stuff gets weaponized.
Yeah, man. Like MacGyver. He turns anything into a weapon.
I really like how the book went into the educational benefits of having a system like that.
Yeah, Ogden Morrow's character, I guess we should talk a little bit about the characters. There's what's his name? James Halliday, Amarak, I guess is his wizard name.
All right, we should preface this by saying every character in the you've read it, right? So you know that every character in the book. Hopefully, you've read this book.
I just read the Cliff Notes. I didn't believe it. James Halliday would totally know what Cliff Notes is. This is his
of course.
world.
Yeah, that's why I think we also like this. We'll get into that later, the '80s thing and why this book is so great. But all right, so we got James Donovan Halliday, which is also what is his name?
Amarak?
And that was his DD name
Amarak?
turned into... It was like a DD name
it was similar.
Turned into his online personality. And then we got Ogden Morrow, who goes by Og. Then we got Helen Harris, who goes by Aish. That's how I say it.
It's just, I thought it was H.
It's H.
It is. It's H. I
Okay.
say it Aish.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, because that's how it's spelled. Then we got Samantha.
Because she's a black girl? Is that why, Eddie?
Was it because she's lesbian?
I am not racist. And no, I didn't say it like that because I said it like a Mexican. Thank you very much. Can I have an Aish? Like if you're on Price is Right?
Or
Can I have an Aish, please?
or if you're British, you can say H.
Oh, all right, let's get off of this. And there's Samantha Evelyn Cook, which is Artemis, which actually we just go by Artemis the whole time. I don't even know I'm reading those names. And Nolan Sorrento, who is a main bad guy. Then we go Daido and Shoto, who are two Japanese warriors who are probably fat guys. And so the whole world is you have one personality inside the world, and you have one personality inside Oasis. What do you guys think about the fact that you could be poor inside of virtual reality? Isn't that shitty? Like when I heard that, I was like, that sucks. They're like, you can be poor and then like put in this virtual reality fucking place, and you're like, yeah, you're still poor.
Still poor.
I like it. It's that idea of leveling up.
Yeah, but you can't level up without money. And everybody that has money can level up a lot easier. But at the same time, it seems like Halliday had his own way of evening everything out.
Exactly.
With his game. So the whole premise of the game, like Adrian said, is kind of based around this Willy Wonka type contest to win Oasis, essentially. To own
Yeah,
it.
in a lot of ways,
like,
yeah.
Who will own the internet?
To do what basically every gamer has done since games were invented. Let's find an Easter egg in the game. Let's
Yeah.
find something that nobody else has.
And, you know,
or very
like,
few people have.
in the 1980s, the game Adventure, which is like the first RPG game.
Did you ever play that?
I had it,
I never
and
played
it
it.
sucked. Well, I was too young, I guess. I was too young and too old. So, like, I was in that period where I was 4 years old, and then by 5 I had a Nintendo, so that game sucked. So I never really played it. But the whole thing is, in that game, the creators of the game left an Easter egg that just says created by and then their names. Because in old games, they didn't actually allow the people that wrote the game to take credit for it in any way, shape, or form. So that first Easter egg, I think, is pretty important and now plays a big role in this book.
Or I guess in culture now.
In culture
if
now,
that's the
it's
way.
a big deal,
Yeah.
you know? Everything is about Easter eggs now. Like, what did you see in Civil War yesterday, you know? I saw 1 million Easter eggs. I collected all of them. As far as dystopian futures go, how do you think this ranks with Mad Max?
It's kind of hard to tell because it doesn't. The majority of the book doesn't really take place in that real world. It takes place in the digital one. I kind of thought it interesting that he really goes into detail about the stacks, the motorhomes where he's living with his aunt, and like the detail. He goes really into detail about it. But then once Wade, the main character, once he leaves those stacks, he doesn't really ever go back to talking about it. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of weird. I thought for some reason he went on and on about it. I thought somehow the story would kind of double back to those stacks at some point.
Yeah, it's a little weird because that's clearly really important early on, and Artemis even says something about wanting to win Holliday's prize to elevate society, and it kind of ends on this romantic note. They kind of forget. I don't know if they forget all about it, but it doesn't. They never bring that back.
The ending, I'm not. Let's talk about the ending when we get there. But I think as far as the stacks go, did you guys find that was really cool that they did Oklahoma City? And did you guys kind of feel like seeing like what's New York like, what's LA like? Did you guys have those questions in your head? Because I kind of want to see more of the world.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that it would be cool to have a sequel where he, had another character maybe living in that world and see what, like...
From my understanding, all those cities were just fucking trash at that point. And it was,
really?
what was it, Cleveland, somewhere
Dayton.
in Ohio?
It was Dayton, I think.
Somewhere in Ohio, that was the epicenter of the world now, and everywhere else has gone to shit.
Yeah, it was where he had his apartment.
Yeah, my assumption was that everything else was just crap at that point. Like,
I want to see that crap. It's like Fallout 4.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel where after he won the game and he has all that loot, what him and Artemis decided to try to do with all that money.
Yeah, we'd be disappointed no matter what they did.
Yeah.
Did you guys kind of get a feel of like the whole teens versus adults in this?
Well, so the book is young adult fiction, clearly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like
they put it in the
common
fiction
motif.
section, but that's just so like guys like us don't feel like idiots buying it. That's definitely a marketing ploy.
Dude, it's young adult fiction.
Yeah, for sure.
Young adult fiction, anytime there's a teenager who's the main character, young adult fiction. It's Harry Potter. It's like anything else. So, I mean, I acknowledge that, and I don't give a shit. I don't know if you care, Adrian.
No, I really don't give a crap. I mean, a good story is a good story, and I thought this one was really good. It had a decent pace. I like all the video games and all the music references, all the movie stuff and TV shows from the 80s. It made me real nostalgic because, total 90s kid throwback.
Speaking of nostalgic, being a child of two parents that went through it and then a sister that was 5 years younger than me, I kind of lived through the 80s stuff again when I was old enough. Like, we had an Atari 2600 and we had all that stuff left over from my parents and sister. So it was still nostalgic to me, even though I didn't live through the period. But at the same time, what I was going to ask is, in the future, is the 80s going to be that big of a fucking deal? It seems like they went really, really hard on that. And I just don't think that anybody's going to really care.
No, it definitely not. I mean, that's kind of Ernie Klein's shtick. Like, if you follow his spoken word stuff, he's very into super 80s. Like, all of his stuff is 80s.
I mean, yeah. And I
related.
get that if this guy is super into it and everybody wants to win the challenge, they would get into it. But would they have the patience to play Joust in the future where you have a hapsuit on? I'm not going to fucking play a game that takes 2 buttons and a directional pad.
I don't know. Maybe not, because games now are way more advanced than like Altered Beast or that what's that like Sega console you just got. But a couple weeks ago, we were still playing those games.
I wasn't very good at it, and I didn't really find that I wanted to spend the time to be good at it. And maybe if they said, like, if you get really good at this, you might become a billionaire, maybe I'd keep going, but I doubt it. I think I'd just be stuck with that sex robot in the corner all the time. Speaking of that, also...
Sex robots?
Sex robots. Speaking of sex robots, speaking of the 80s culture stuff, like, do you guys think that they really focused on the 80s because it's the last definable decade? Like, this being a future and us talking about basically the last 30 years of our lives, like, it's the last real definable decade, right? The 90s is kind of split into two, and the early 2000s is just a mesh with the fucking new decade that we just went into. I was thinking the 80s are at the forefront because it's the last decade where you can really say there was one cohesive kind of idea behind everything, or at least cohesive feel amongst everything. What do you guys think about that?
I would say I thought it more of Ernest Cline speaking through James Holiday. Since he loves the 80s so much, there could be another author somewhere who could write the same thing about 90s, the 2000s. However, this is what he wants to share, just like the character James Holiday, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Absolutely.
I've criticized a bunch of media before for saying this, for pulling the nostalgic thing. I specifically talked crap about Guardians of the Galaxy for having such a great soundtrack and kind of using that to kind of make you think that maybe the movie was better. I keep on saying that. I kind of believe that. But do you think that this is kind of pulling, like, is this a good book, or is this just like everything we loved as children in one book? Like, I kind of feel like every single book should now reference everything I've ever liked.
I don't think every book should do that. I think that this particular book,
does it well.
Because of who wrote it, that's his whole spiel. Like, that's his wheelhouse, basically, is just 80s nostalgia. And he wrote a great story around it.
I agree with that, man. I like that. I don't think this book is specifically just good because of the nostalgia thing.
But adding on to that question, we're all in our 30s. I would say James Halliday, if he were alive right now, he would be in his 40s, correct? Mm-hmm. Based on the timeline of the book?
I don't know.
I get the impression that he was older.
I can't do math.
I was assuming he was born in the 70s because he was a teenager in the 80s.
Yeah, I think they said something about, 72 or I don't know.
So say
Right.
people who are born in the mid to late 90s, are they going to read this book and enjoy it as much as we would because of that?
Not.
Millennials
Absolutely
can't
not, no.
read, so...
No.
Okay, so I don't know if we need to jump in this. Then why are they making a movie?
I just think they're targeting our demographic specifically.
I think this would be a great movie. I think that the world is already created, and of course they're going to make a movie out of it. They don't have any ideas. What are they going to make? Fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre 17?
There's so many licensing things that I can think of, like, because they talk about the DeLorean, and then also having an X-wing, and then like the spaceship from Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
You know, like, how do you get all those companies to agree to give you rights to
You
put
don't
that in
get
your
the
movie?
rights. You don't call it the X-wing. You just make it look like it. You know, just parody. Don't copy. Anyway, Steven Spielberg's directing this. So what do you guys think about that? Because he actually talks a little bit of shit. Ernest Cline talks a little bit of shit about Steven Spielberg in the book. James Halliday said that he was a fan of the first Indiana Jones movies, but not the fourth and fifth. That came out.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So, like, there's stuff that, like, Steven Spielberg, little jabs, straight up calling the fourth movie a piece of garbage, essentially. And he picked up the book, so that makes me think Steven Spielberg, number one, either hates that movie or is okay with talking shit about it.
You can talk shit about the fourth Indiana Jones. It's just accepted.
Yeah.
Everyone should have a sense of humor
It's a
about
pretty
it.
fucking shit movie, man. They have Shia LaBeouf fucking swinging with monkeys in a tree.
What
that
was
movie
the
was
thing about
awful.
the nuclear explosion and a fucking refrigerator?
He got into a refrigerator and survived a nuclear explosion.
I've still never seen that movie.
Oh, it's fucking... Don't.
I've never seen it
Don't.
either.
To be
I'm not
honest,
gonna watch it.
don't. I've heard that maybe the new one might be good. Maybe they've learned that they're not infallible. All right.
So I saw the actress who is I don't remember her name, but the actress who's playing Artemis, and she's like a tiny little thin girl, which is weird because Artemis in the book is a bigger girl. She's a curvy girl.
Described as Rubenesque.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I guess it's Hollywood.
I mean,
so
yeah.
they gotta
Dude, everybody
do
in
what
this
they
movie
gotta
is going to
do.
be hot, you know? Like, there's not going to be ugly people in this movie.
You know what I'd be kind of worried about? So I loved Youth and Revolt, another young
Yeah,
adult fiction.
God, that movie.
It was a great book. And
You know,
the
that's
movie,
one that I don't think is young adult fiction.
Technically,
Technically it is, but God, that's got adult themes.
See, but I'm worried that's going to happen where... Love the book. I guess you could say that about like any book that gets made into a movie.
That's
and it's just
specifically why I wanted to do this podcast and why I wanted you guys to read the book and why I actually read the book, because I found out they were making a movie and I really hate having to go buy the book and read it after either I've seen the movie or even seen the cover of the movie or the casting of the movie, because that already puts something. I read Harry Potter after the fact, and I only read it because I had to teach Korean girls, and that was the only thing I had in common with them. But I couldn't stop picturing the people from the movie, and I think that was actually okay with me though, because they did a really good casting job in Harry Potter.
I haven't seen... Oh, in the Harry Potter thing. I thought
Harry
you meant
Potter.
this book.
No, so far. I don't
Have
think
they cast it yet?
They cast Wade. They cast Percival.
Wade, Artemis, Ogden Morrow, who's Simon Pegg, which...
That's perfect.
I don't
That's
think so.
perfect. No?
Because Ogden Morrow's like this big,
Oh,
burly dude.
You know,
give
I actually
hugs
kind
and-
of I pictured Woz,
That's exactly who I was picturing.
but at the same time, he's more of a Steve Jobs character in the book.
I thought what's his name?
No, 'cause-
the main guy.
Because Halliday actually created it, and Og kind of just marketed it. So
That's
like
true, yeah.
it was like
You're right. It's
it
kind
was
of
like all flipped
it's
around.
A flipped around version. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the
Apparently,
description, like his physicality, I guess, was more of what I pictured Woz to be.
I got this off of actual Wikipedia, but apparently, because I didn't read the book, I just read the Wikipedia. Guys, suckers, made you read a book. Apparently, he's based on two people, Howard Hughes and Richard Garriott. That guy's a computer programmer that eventually went to space. And then Howard Hughes is that guy that held himself up in a room and pissed in a jar. But it doesn't really touch on all the people I kind of pictured. I definitely pictured Steve Jobs in this character. I definitely pictured the Wozniak. Mm-hmm. That's who I really went to, and that's probably just, reader response. What do you guys picture when you guys think about specifically Halliday and Og? Like you said, Simon Pegg. Fuck no. So you pictured a big fat guy?
Kind of.
Do you picture? Did you guys just picture everybody in this world as fat? Because I did. Like I was just all like, everybody's gotta be fat.
There's several people they specifically say are heavier.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the main character is supposedly fat.
So, no, Percival isn't.
At the beginning,
until he gets on that fucking regimen where he can't get onto his computer until he does like 5 sit-ups or something.
That's kind of cool.
I kind of wish it was something like that, right? Like, you can't use your car till you do 10 push-ups. I'd be like, oh, fuck.
We would all be ripped, though.
Yeah. It wouldn't be anything special. My dog's back.
See, that wouldn't stop me from...
man.
That wouldn't stop me from drinking beer, though, because I would just do that and then drink a bunch of beer.
And then it'd be all like, all right, you drank 50... Because it augmented, right? It could tell how much he ate and would...
So the computer would order his food, and so he would put in what he would eat, and then the computer would calculate what calories he ingested and make him work out accordingly.
Accordingly, yeah. So, like, if you drink a bunch of beers, it'd be like, well, sorry, now you have to do 500 push-ups before you can use your computer.
I'd still do it if I can drink beer.
Oh, man. You'd be so ripped.
No, that's kind of... I wouldn't say that's my life now, but I'll exercise so I can drink a lot.
Did you guys hear about the Easter egg that happened in real life? This is actually why I went on Wikipedia to look this up. Because I heard about this. So Ernest Cline owns not one, but 2 DeLoreans. There's one that he drives around in to do his book tours, and he had an extra one. So in his book, there's an actual Easter egg. And on August 1st, 2012, a guy found it.
Wow.
And the Easter egg took him to a website where he had to finish a series of Atari games, and he actually beat the record for Joust on the 9th, 8 days after finding the Easter egg, and won a DeLorean.
That is really cool.
Isn't that cool? I wonder if he has to pay taxes on that.
I was going to ask, speaking of Easter eggs, in a book that's all about finding an Easter egg, if you guys found anything or any hints or anything that's more than just an illusion that you guys thought about during this.
No.
Like, in what context?
Did I find any Easter eggs?
One thing I thought about is there's very few literary references. They have Shakespeare, which Percival's not really that into, but he names his ship Vonnegut, which I thought was kind of telling just because of the type of book this is, where I thought of Slaughterhouse-5. In this book, you have a novel where it's a fantasy setting, a sci-fi setting. It's kind of like a spy hacker setting. And that reminded me a lot of Slaughterhouse-5, where Vonnegut did a World War II novel at the same time he did like a sci-fi alien novel, and it worked out really well. So that's what I was thinking about the whole time. And was there anything else that was kind of like hidden or not right at the surface that you guys thought of, and you're like, oh, that's an interesting correlation to this?
I didn't really correlate. Nothing that I can think of off the top of my head. Things that I really liked that he referenced? Bill Hicks.
Yeah, that's true.
That was super cool.
He does bring up Bill Hicks.
Max Headroom.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Hicks.
Yeah, that was...
I love Bill Hicks.
The second Bill Hicks.
The second one, yeah.
Bill Hicks 2.
Jr. They came out, actually. They come out in 4 years from now.
Bill Hicks Jr.
Jr.
But Jeff, you're right in that he did write a book that has all kinds of different tones, and I really like the hacker style part where he breaks into the corporation to kind of get into their intranet.
IOI.
Oh, right, the IOI. And so I thought that part of the book was really, really fun to read.
Well, yeah, I think all the parts worked really well. When I would get kind of tired of one, like kind of the dungeon crawl story, it would jump into the third act of the book where it is like that hacker spy novel, which was super cool. How did you guys, or how did you feel, Eddie, about them jumping around to these different styles, different genres within the book?
He did a really, really good job in doing it. It was pretty seamless. You went from maybe kind of a romancy kind of feel to one that's completely action-oriented. The only thing I have as far as a criticism of this book is I really hated the super-duper happy ending. Like everything ended perfectly. Willy Wonka gave away his chocolate factory, and everything is right in the world.
It's like you were saying, nothing's right in the world because nothing gets fixed. He's like, for the first time,
it seems
I don't want to live in the oasis. But it's like, no, the world's still fucking shit. You're just rich, motherfucker. Fuck you guys.
Right? And then, like, there's a whole generation of kids that are being multiplied, like, exponentially. People are having more children in these stacks. Everything's going to shit. Resources are plummeting. These children don't know how to run a company.
Yeah.
This is where we are now. The end of the book is not very good. Plus, the IOI successfully killed people and will try to kill them again. They are hunted forever because if they lose control of that, they can lose it in litigation.
That's true.
They lost one guy in the IOI, the Nolan character. Nolan Sorrento. And they're like, we won! No fucking way. Anybody who knows anything about a corporation is that a corporation is a bunch of people. A cooperation between many people. So that motherfucker's replaceable. He even says he's replaceable. Remember when he's like, all like, I'll kill you, or how about you're fired, and they're like, we can do that. That guy's so replaceable that in one phone call he almost got fired.
Yeah.
And that's the win because he went to jail? Come on.
So is the end message that as long as you have money and love more or less, nothing else fucking matters? Because that's the end. That's where the novel ends on.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty bad.
That is the fucking message at the end.
I thought the message was when he talks to Halliday at the end of the contest.
How to rock the wizard.
When he wins the contest, and he basically tells him, like, don't lose yourself in the digital world. You know, get out into the real world and live your life and all that. And I thought that was what the main theme of or at least the main takeaway was from the book.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. The whole thing of like go live outside, but Jeff's right though. Outside sucks dick.
Well, yeah, but I think that's even if the outside does suck dick, you need to go outside.
So
and like
the character Percival took that as Halliday saying like, oh, essentially go after your love, Artemis, because I never went after my love, Kira, or whatever her name was.
But that was straight up fucked up. Like, he's like, because I never went after my best friend's girl.
Yeah.
Like, come on, fuck you.
Well, I mean, he doesn't go out and say that, but he says go out and find your love.
The whole thing is if one relationship
shouldn't be go out and fix the fucking world, though? It seems like they're setting you up.
Shouldn't it be like, after this, you have so much money, you should go change the planet?
Because it seems like they're setting you up for these characters to do that.
I have to say that overall, besides that fact and that ending where we're like, that wasn't good, I really liked this book. And if I would have rated it, I wouldn't say it's my favorite book of all time or anything like that, but definitely geek love. Like, this book is nothing but a love letter to fans of everything 80s and geek culture. So I would rate this book pretty highly as far as a quick read. Like, if you like a Stephen King book, fuck Stephen King. Read Ready Player One. You know what I mean? Don't consider it high art. I'm not putting him in the same realm as, like, Faulkner or anything like that. But Ernest Cline's a pretty damn good, pop writer.
It's entertaining.
And I'm going to read Armada because of this. But what do you guys think about this book?
I was very entertained. I mean, it caught my attention. It, went after everything that I'm into. Like, so it definitely checked all the boxes for me.
Yeah, it was a fun, quick read. I think we're going into this book a lot, but I don't know if there's anything like we really have to like. think there's a lot of like hidden subtext or things he's really trying to say with this? Because I don't think that
there's much.
Kind of a fun
there's
book.
not very many layers. It's just kind of like it's definitely Easter eggs aplenty.
Oh, for sure.
And you could find those all over the place. But at the same time, as far as the substance of the book, it's all right there. It's right out in front of you.
Sure.
Even with the reveal that H is a big black woman. Even with that reveal, like they're trying to say something very obvious, like, oh, people can be anybody and anybody can be good at hacking and be on the internet. It's very obvious, so I didn't really feel like once I got to that, I was like, oh, okay, that's a surprise. It makes sense. The message is obvious.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that you guys felt that was like, oh my God, this is...
Well, it's definitely like an anti-capitalistic society kind of thing going on. There's kind of like a Bernie Sanders feel to it. Like, hey, man, why are we living in the stacks, man? Well, you're in your fucking cozy apartment, man. Fucking, I can only go on Oasis with my school fucking rig.
You need to be an extra in this movie just so you can, it's like, hey, man.
Hey, man. Can I get my hap suit and my Oasis rig, bro? I really want to just get some good fucking in right now. I found the sex doll in the corner over there.
Your avatar is either Chong or Rory from Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, either one. It's a mixture of the two. It's Chong when he's in high school. What were you saying, Adrian?
Oh, the only real big theme that I kept picking up on, and this is going back to the whole, don't lose yourself in the digital world kind of thing. And I kind of got the same feel whenever I read Snow Crash, because that book also has a very big digital world that it bounces to and from.
That's Neil Stevenson, right?
Yeah.
Actually, when I bought this book, that book came. It was like, want to buy both of these for $9? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And I bought it. It's just sitting. I haven't read it.
Oh, it's a great read.
It's good. Yeah,
it's really great.
What's it? Is it like it's similar to this, but without the references?
Basically, yeah. And
all right, cool.
Man, and honestly, I probably prefer Snow Crash because it's really just the story without all the references. Like the references, it makes for a very easy and light read.
Yeah.
But Snow Crash definitely has some really deep...
Mikey said the same thing. My friend Mikey Aguilar. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
He was all like, I like Snow Crash better.
Yeah, definitely like Snow Crash better because it goes deeper into the whole digital world part. But this one was definitely more fun to read. It's very easy to absorb, and it won't take a lot of time to finish. Snow Crash, on the other hand, might take you a while because it can get a little.
It's kind of thick. I started reading it and I was like, oh man, it's got jargon.
If you're not,
I don't want to learn fucking specialized language for fucking reading books. I haven't done that since Clockwork Orange.
You kind of have to be into sci-fi to really get
I was like,
it.
oh, here we go, another fucking Lord of the Goddamn Rings.
Speaking of not necessarily jargon, but what did you feel? How did you feel about some of the tech talk in this? Do you think it was just like kind of basic? Like,
well, he kept it pretty general, but
yeah, he
accessible,
didn't go
accessible, so that most even the layman can understand what he was trying to go with.
I thought it was actually pretty simple, straightforward. I didn't really find any problems. I didn't even think it was that. Sometimes, like for example, Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, a lot of the slang in that is fucking bullshit. Like you just read it and you're just like, oh my god. He really thought that people would talk like that in the future. I get that slang's stupid, but it doesn't go that far. And this is not that bad.
So, Adrian, you didn't see anything in the book because you're, in the tech business that you're all like, well, fuck that, and that really upset you because that's what I'm trying.
Definitely not. Like I said, he kept.
He's trying to pull this out of you, man.
No, there was nothing that I mean.
Pull your dick out.
I did like that part, but not necessarily the hacking part. I guess for me, it was more the infiltration. How he got in there, and how he got the ankle bracelet, and how he got all the data, and how he was able to get in the building and out of the building with all that information.
You don't have to be into tech to get an ankle bracelet, by the way. You could just I guess, not pay child support.
Yeah,
to get an ankle bracelet, I think.
And I guess I was really fascinated by the part that in the book, if you owe this company money, they can basically cut you out of your apartment and make you an indentured slave for the rest of your life.
I loved that part of the book because I that was something that I really didn't see coming.
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to really do that.
Yeah. Once it started happening, I was like, oh man, this book's going crazy. Like, I don't know if they're going to recover from this. And you're like, all right, he prison breaked it.
Yeah, basically.
I was kind of hoping he would just be fucked and he wouldn't get the Easter egg and it would all fall to shit because
The rest
of
of
that.
the story is just him in a jail cell talking to himself.
Yeah.
Just as like, yeah, that'd be the Kurt Vonnegut ending.
Yeah, I remembered what kind of book it was. I was like, obviously this won't happen, but like it would be fucking cool if they just fucking, that's it. You're fucked. People would be pissed. I would be happy.
Yeah, I know, man. That would be it's not the director's cut, it's the Jeff cut. The Waller cut.
Waller cut.
Yeah, there you go, man. I think every movie should have a Waller cut, or every book. It's like, all right, read the first one, now read this book. And you're like, well, this book's 345 pages, and this book's 15 pages. It's a Waller cut.
I had several creative writing teachers that would tell me, well, that's not how you should end a story. I was like, no, that's how my story ends. That's how I want this story to end. And that's how it's going to end.
But he just goes shoe shopping for 40 days, Jeff. And like, yeah, he really wanted new shoes after that.
It's called a Jim Jarmusch movie. Nothing happened.
Oh, no, man. What's that one? Dead Man had... That was pretty eventful. It was slow as fuck, but it was pretty eventful. Yeah. But Down by Law, nothing fucking happens. Nothing fucking happens. Coffee and Cigarettes, nothing fucking happens. Oh, Black Dog. That's actually a pretty good one.
You've never seen it.
Actually, to be honest, man, I Forrest Whitaker as a ninja, like fat Forrest Whitaker as a ninja, is pretty fucking hilarious. But that's not a bad movie.
I've heard a lot of really good stuff about that movie.
I've always talked so much shit before I saw it, and then I saw it and I was like, that's not bad.
Everybody that I know that's watched it says the same thing. It's actually really solid and it holds up.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah. What's the most recent one, or maybe it was 1 or 2 years ago, the vampire
one? I don't know if I like that one or not yet.
So, any final thoughts on the book?
I would give it 7 dildos out of 10.
Well, all right. Is that good or bad?
That's awesome, man.
I guess it depends if you like dildos or not.
Everybody likes dildos, man.
Yeah, it was a good book.
How many dildos?
I enjoyed it.
How many dildos?
How many dildos? I don't know. What kind of dildos are we talking about?
Big black ones.
Big black.
And purple ones, too. No white ones.
You know, I don't normally like to give ratings, but I'll give it for this one. I'd give it 1 dildo right across your face, Eddie.
Well deserved. Well deserved. Does that mean you don't like it?
No, it was good. It was good. I liked it. It's a fun book.
So aside from the fun of Ready Player One, we got sidetracked with Jim Jarmusch. Maybe we'll do one of his movies on a later podcast. Who knows? So stick around after the outro to hear our thoughts on Heaven. Hope you liked the episode. You can now find us on iTunes and Podcast Addict or our website, prosebros.libsyn.com. I'm Jeff, speaking for Eddie Cruz. Until next time.
So what's up, Eddie?
Everything.
Cool.
Nothing. I just made a bunch of noise on my microphone. We edited it out.
Yeah, you did.
It was awesome.
Well, we will. This conversation will probably be gone too.
Most of all of our conversations should probably be edited. I wish that I could edit my everyday life. Like, you know, go back and be like, I got really mad at that girl at the bar and I probably took it too far. Just like kind of cut that out.
Well, that's what happens in heaven.
Oh, you get your own personal editor?
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, just awesome editor just walking around with you and being all like, yeah, everybody's perfect.
But he's kind of an asshole, and he's really upset about being there.
He's really smug. Thanks for listening if you did.